Welcome to the series of MCQs on Python. So, I'll be explaining some of the important MCQs with explanation that are very useful for the placement exams. So, in the last two videos also I have been giving some important MCQs on Python fundamentals and control structures. In this video also I am going to give few important bits on control structures and functions. So, which of the following is not used as loop in Python? So in Python we have for, while, but we do not have do while. Which of the following are selection statements in Python? So in Python we don't have switch. Remaining all three we are having. Okay, we are supposed to select which of the following are selection statements in Python. It's a multiple selection. So if else, and elif are there. Can we write if else in one single line in Python? The answer is yes. Suppose if I wanted to write something like if n greater than 10, flag equal to 1, else flag equal to 0. Instead of writing it in four separate lines, we can put it in one single line in Python like flag equal to 1 if n greater than 10, else 0. Like this, we can put it in one single line instead of writing it in four lines. So flag equal to 1 if n greater than 10, else 0. This one single line is equivalent to writing in four separate lines like if n greater than 10, in next line flag equal to 1, in next line else, in next line flag equal to 0. So the answer is yes. How many times the following loop will run for I in range of 1 comma 30 comma minus 5? So whenever the start value is less than the end value, the step should be always positive. Otherwise, the loop will never run. Here start is 1, end value is 30, but the step value is minus 5. So in this case, the loop will never run. So whenever start is less than end, step should be positive. If start is greater than end, then only step can be negative. How many times the following loop will run for I in range of 20 comma 1 comma minus 3? In this case, start value is 20, which is greater than the end value 1. So the step can be negative, that is minus 3. So this loop will run when I is 20, next step is minus 3, so it will be 17. Next I will be 14. Next I will be 11. Next I will be 8. Next I will be 5. Next I will be 2, like that. So in this case, this particular loop will be running for 7 times. Which keyword is used for defining a function in Python? So it is def keyword. So it's only def. So only to confuse, multiple selections are given. Which of the following is or true regarding Python function? So a function is a code block that only executes when it is called. It's correct. It is a code block which will be executed only when called. Python function always returns a value. No, this is not correct because it's not mandatory that each and every function will be returning a value. A function only executes when it is called. Yes, this is correct statement. Python doesn't support nested function. This is wrong. Python supports nested functions. We can include nested functions in Python. So only these two are correct. what is the default return value for a function that does not return any value explicitly. So when a function doesn't return anything, the default return type is none. So none is a special type in Python which represents nothing. So none is a special type in Python which represents nothing. So rather than associating it with null or some empty, it is treated to be none. Which of the following is are included in the Python function header? So in the function header, yes, function name must and should be there. Return type will not be part of header. Parameter list, yes. Optionally, you can have parameter list to every function. So these are the only two. Which of the following function headers is correct? So within the function header, whatever the parameter list you are giving, the default values, if you are associating, then all the parameters must be associated with the default values. Every parameter must and should have some default value if you are assigning default values to any of the parameter. So in the first function header, you can see that B is not associated with any default value. In the second function header, B and C are not associated with any default values. In the third function header, you can see all three parameters are associated with default values. In the last function header, D is not associated with default values. So as mentioned, if default values are assigned, then the default value should be assigned for all the parameters, so that when this function being called, if any of the parameter value was not passed, then the default value will be used. So it is C is the correct answer.